Hi, I'm Kayla Winter. I battle with alcoholism and I was homeless, and this is my story. I grew up, I had the best family. Life was easy. I had no worries. My mom was diagnosed with breast cancer for the first time when I was 5, and I couldn't grasp the scope of what that really meant, but I knew she was sick. But soon after, she pushed through it. I was involved in sports. I was a straight-A student. I did gymnastics, basketball, lacrosse, and track. When I was 14, my life started to kind of change as I transitioned into high school. My mom was diagnosed with breast cancer again and tubular cancer, and just seeing her go through all of that and actually being a witness to it and understanding this time kind of took a toll on me. At that time, I started cutting and burning myself. I felt like I didn't feel worthy, and I felt that I deserved pain. And that's when my eating disorder journey started, with bulimia, which turned into anorexia. That lasted about 2.5 years. When I was 17, I was raped. And also when I was 17, I drank for the first time. And the first time that I drank, I actually flatlined. And you would think that that would open up my eyes, like, hey, watch out. But it didn't. I drank a few days after that, and alcoholism is a progressive disease, but in my case, it progressed very rapidly. It was a weekend thing, and then it was, after about 2 months, it was a weekend thing and an after-school thing. And then after about a month of that, I was waking up at 5:55 in the morning, taking shots of vodka, and I had water bottles full of it at school, and I was playing sports and doing that. And by the time I was 18, I had gotten 4 MIPs, 2 shoplifting, and a hit-and-run ticket. And my family was definitely catching on, and, they were like, she needs help. So I had an intervention. They were like, your flight leaves in 2 hours. You have 20 minutes to pack a bag. And I was off to Minnesota for my first treatment center. I wasn't really a social drinker. I drank alone in my room with the lights off, and those moments were like kind of like being a complete and powerless and hopeless slave to this addiction and to sin, right? Kind of like what Romans 7 talks about, how I do what I don't want to do and I hate what I do. So I was there for 31 days, and I drank the night I got back. And from then on, it's just been this cycle of, detox and treatment and having little spurts of sobriety. And it wasn't until, March of last year, I had a little time sober. I relapsed the end of January, and in a matter of 2 months, I had my second DUI. I was in jail for the 3rd time. I totaled my car, and I was living in my car, that I totaled, and then I was homeless and without a place to go. And I had collapsed my lung and taken to the hospital. And it was in that hospital bed where I knew, because it had gotten so bad in just 2 months, that I had a very big decision to make. I could choose life, or I could, keep knocking on death's door. And I made the decision that I want to live. I was in such a storm and in such darkness and despair and in the depths that I wanted to live, but I didn't know how. It's not a choice. People always tell you, just stop. But it's not a choice. I believe the first drink is a choice, but after that, you have no control. I had a recovery coach my last spurt of sobriety, and I reached out to her, and she came to my hospital room, and she got me into a detox. And this is the very first time that I actually was like, I want treatment, and I don't want a 30-day treatment like the other 5 times that I went to treatment. I need time in treatment to heal. It was April 4th. I was in her basement, and I got a call that one of my best friends that I met in treatment had passed away from alcohol. We don't know if she was meaning to or not. And then the next day I got a call, and I was accepted into Aspen Ridge on a full ride scholarship for 3 months of treatment. So I got the opportunity for 6-7 hours a day to dig into all of my past trauma, all of my hurts, and add healing onto that, because at the end of the day, alcohol is not the problem, right? It's the solution to these problems that are in us and within us. So something just clicked, and I got a sponsor, and I started working the steps, and they call it the how, the honest, open-minded, and willing. I was desperate, and in recovery, you'll hear that a lot. It's called the gift of desperation. And so I did everything I was told. I listened to suggestion. We were doing meetings every night, and the hard work and the heart work during the day. And after that, I knew I can't just go back into society. I can't just, be thrown back into the world. So I decided to go to sober living. So I've been in Monarch Sober Living since I got out in July. And here I am. Yeah, well, my journey coming to know the Lord, I grew up Catholic, and so I knew God, but I did not have a relationship with God. When my mom got her second round of breast cancer, I decided to walk to the Christian church down my street, and I felt something click as I listened to the worship and saw the words on the screen, and I was like, this is what I want. Like, this is what church should be, like, fun, and like it makes sense. And so that's when I first kind of got this click of like, okay, this is what God is all about, and this is how church is supposed to be, and fellowship is supposed to be. When I was in escort, probably, it was 6 years ago, I was brought to my knees. I had reached a whole another level of being desperate and having to put my body and my soul through that, that I couldn't make it that long. And I had a very dear friend help me quit that, and I remember being in the middle of the street, just on my knees, crying, like, God, I don't know what to do, but just a moment of surrender. Like, I can't do this anymore, you need to take it, and we'll see where things lead from there. My addiction and my faith, I always have my faith, but faith without works is dead, right? So when I am not living how God wants me to, when I am living in my active addiction, I run from God, and that's where our relationship gets kind of tricky, and that's where the conflict comes into play, because I'm not doing what he asks of me, and I know he sees my world falling apart, and I'm sure it breaks his heart, but he is near to the brokenhearted. So I always knew he was with me, but I couldn't bring myself to draw closer to him when I am in active addiction and active sin. But when I am sober, I fill myself with God every single day, and they call it the gifts of sobriety, right? That happen when we do what we're told, and when we have the faith and we do the works combined. And that's what I've been experiencing this past journey. The biggest things that I have learned from God are that I am loved, I am worthy, I am valuable. No matter what I do, he loves me, and his forgiveness and his grace and his mercy is never failing and always constant. And I had to learn the hard way. I always knew I had a good heart, but growing up, you're taught that it's all about how you look and and what you do. And so I never felt worthy. I never felt good enough. I put myself in abusive, emotionally and physically abusive and toxic relationships time after time after time, and I stayed in them because I thought that is what I deserved. For the first time, I am free from that. And for the first time, I can sit here today and say that I love the person that God chose me to be. They say rock bottom will teach you things that mountaintops never will. I had to hit an absolute bottom. As humans, we're constantly giving God this little bit, but wanting to hold on to, this little bit. And I laid it down at the foot of the cross. I threw my hands up in full surrender, and I had no doubt that he would do something with that. My dad grew up not knowing God, but through my addiction, my dad wants to go to church every Sunday. He's in a men's group. He got a Bible. He's journaling. He's reading books about God, and he has found this whole new relationship with the Lord through what I went through. And so has my mom. Her faith has grown immensely. I mean, I feel like I got my strength to overcome this disease from watching her go through her cancer, because in a lot of ways, addiction is just like cancer. Life today, oh my gosh, life is such a blessing. It's so beautiful. I have a sponsor. I have a recovery coach. I'm in sober living. I go to, on average, 4 meetings a week. I am actually a sponsor now, meaning that I've worked all the steps, and I'm ready to give it to the newcomer and to the next person, and pass all my wisdom and everything that I learned throughout the steps onto someone else and help them on their journey. And I never thought I would get there. I never thought I would be a sponsor. I was like, because relapse is a big part of my story. I was like, I'm always going to be the one that needs help, when all my life, all I've ever wanted to do is help people. So I finally feel like all the hard work that I've done over the past year is paying off. I'm an introvert, and I'm very shy, and I typically would rather just be alone, but in this new season of recovery for me, I have put myself out there and branched out and just taken many leaps of faith, and in doing that, I have a whole tribe of women around me that are there no matter what, and I can pour my heart out to them any time of day with anything, and they are there. They're praying with me, they are supporting me, they are encouraging me, they are making sure no matter what, my head is still lifted high. If you're out there and you are struggling with addiction and self-worth, I just want you to know that you are loved, you are worthy, you are valuable, and that you matter, and that there are people out there that are going to show you that you matter. Recovery isn't all rainbows and light and unicorns. You're gonna go through the hard times, and you're gonna have to feel the hard feelings, and you're just gonna have to feel them, and you're not gonna have anything to throw over them to cope with them. You're just gonna have to feel them, and you're gonna reach out and you're gonna work through them, and that's where your strength is gonna come from. In recovery, you have to change one thing, which is everything, right? People, places, things, and at first it's hard to build your tribe. It's hard to know, put your trust in people who could die. That's happened so many times with me, or that could relapse and not be a part of your life anymore. Another hard thing is finding fun in sobriety. You used to drink and use. For me, with everything I did, nothing was going to be fun if I didn't have alcohol in the picture. So just finding things that are fun, you might need help with. You might need other people to do that with you. And sometimes you gotta do things over again. I know that like hiking and playing sports was huge for me, and you just have to make new memories doing it, and you'll remember them. Through recovery, learning to love myself has given me the blessing of loving other people the right way. I believe that saying is true. You can't really truly love someone until you love yourself. I just feel like as I kill my flesh more and God, puts the Holy Spirit in me, that I am just able to radiate the love and the light of the Father. Alcoholism did define me for a very long time. I'm Kayla, I'm an alcoholic. But once you get sober and work a strong program and the gifts of sobriety start happening, alcoholism will always be a part of you. We will always have this disease. It will be there, waiting for us with full power if we choose to go back to it. But as of right now, it's a part of me, but for me, it's many, many lessons learned. Hi, I'm Kayla Winter. I am a daughter of the King. I am loved, I am chosen, I am worthy, and I have a purpose. And that is my story.